Hello again, everyone. So today I'm going to be revisiting an old concept that I've spoken about before and that a lot of my clients are aware of, and that's the trigger cycle. Now, with my anger management clients especially, I go over the trigger cycle because it puts the whole process from the trigger, which causes us or that we respond angrily to, and then all the way through to our final behavior. Okay. So that the power of the trigger cycle basically gives us a tool that we can use to manage our anger. Okay. From the source. Okay. So as I'm going to be talking through each of the phases of the trigger cycle so that you've got a bit of an understanding, and then we're going to go over a few things that you can do to help with your intense emotions, whether it's anger or frustration or other intense emotions that you might feel. So the trigger cycle, as it's called by name, starts with a trigger. Okay, and that trigger can be anything. I'd often give the road rage example. So if you're driving and someone cuts you off, that could be a trigger. Or if you're talking and you feel and someone cuts you off, that could be a trigger. You might feel disrespected or unheard, and that might make you angry. Okay. So when there is a trigger, when something happens, the first thing that happens is you have a thought around what happened. Okay. And the thought comes from either two places. It comes from it's happening to me. So it's your fault, or a more objective view is the reality is that this has happened and it's my choice to to see the worst, to respond to that in a negative outcome. So I'll give you an example. So let's say someone cuts you off. You're talking, you're speaking, and someone cuts you off. Okay, or they yell at you or they respond negatively to something that you've said. And your first thought could be, "Oh my goodness, they've done it again. How dare they?" Okay. And then that would probably lead to feelings or emotions. So after that first thought happens, then that generates a feeling or emotion. So what I'll do is I'll actually go through it once in this scenario, and then we'll go around it again in another scenario. So we'll start with that trigger. Someone cuts you off. Um, your first thought is, how dare they? This is really rude. They're really rude. That thought then leads to a feeling or emotion, which can be frustration, it can be anger, disappointment, and so forth. And then your body starts to react. So you might start to have higher blood pressure. You might start to breathe heavier. You might start to shake. Some people shake. Um, and then what happens is those physical behavior that those physical symptoms, all right, in conjunction with that initial thought and those feelings lead to your behavior. And that behavior can be things like yelling, or walking away, being passive aggressive. In extreme scenarios, it could be physical altercations or violence. And then that behavior leads to another trigger. Okay, and that's why that closes the loop of the trigger cycle. That's why it's called the trigger cycle. Okay, so let's go back to that scenario. Let's go through it again, and we'll go back through that scenario where you're talking and someone's cut you off. Okay. So let's say you're talking about something and someone cuts you off, or they're offended, or something that you've said they've reacted negatively towards, and they get upset and they cut you off. Okay. And your first thought, your initially when we first did this loop, the trigger cycle, your first thought was, how dare they? They're rude, they're disrespecting me. The next thought, instead of that, let's flip the switch. Let's think about another thought. Okay. They're cutting you off because you may have said something that has triggered them or that has upset them. So instead of having the first thought of they're being rude, it's maybe we can flip the thought to I wonder why they're reacting that way. Okay, so you're engaging that sense of curiosity and you listen to them. Okay, they've cut me off. I wonder why. Okay, have I triggered them somehow? Okay, so what happens is you're now taking ownership of your actions, of your words. Okay, generally, excuse me, generally, when you start taking ownership, your feelings, you generally don't start to feel that anger. You might be a bit frustrated because they might have cut you off, but that normally quickly subsides. And that the feelings that you might have now are more empathic. You know, are they okay? You know, they're clearly triggered by what I said. Are they okay? Okay, so now you're coming from that place of compassion, okay, from that place of love and empathy. Okay, and your physical symptoms, you still might have elevated heart rate. Okay, you still might have you still might feel a bit uncomfortable in your body, but the intensity won't be so much. Okay, you'll be more in control of your physical symptoms. Okay, and then your behavior might be that you do walk away and you might just excuse yourself. Look, I'm sorry. You might be assertive. You might be more assertive rather than passive aggressive. You might tell them, look, I feel really uncomfortable right now. I'm going to take 5 minutes and let's talk about it then. Or, you might ask the question that you might ask, look, clearly you're offended, or something I've said, I can see a reaction has affected you. What's going on? And you might ask them the question, and then you can have a talk about it and diffuse the situation. And then that, once again, that leads to another trigger, but this time the trigger might be a more relaxed, a more positive trigger. So once again, we've closed the loop. But that's the power of the thought. That's the power of that initial thought. All right. So you flip the switch in your mind when something happens to you, and it can change the whole outcome. Okay. And this isn't just with someone cutting you off. I always give the example of road rage. Someone cuts you off and you're driving, instead of, God damn it, they shouldn't have done that, or, all this stuff. Um, you might say to yourself, well, maybe they're in a rush. Maybe they just have to go somewhere. Okay, that's fine. Um, so there was a story I heard today, that I'm just going to quickly share. So, which ties back into this. So, there was this man that was catching the train, and he looked at the different people on the train, and they were all just quietly doing their thing, minding their own business. And then the train stopped, and another man walked on with two kids that were loud and rowdy, and he sat down and he just closed his eyes while his kids were being rowdy, and the other man was starting to get really annoyed at the kids, and said to the father, "Your kids are very annoying. I'm feeling really annoyed by that. Can you do something about it?" Because he started feeling angry. He started feeling really upset and angry and anxious. And the father said, "Why, yes, you're right. I really should do something about it. Their mother just died in hospital, and I'm still trying to um, come to terms with that, and I'm not sure how they're dealing with that loss either." Um, and then immediately the other person who started feeling angry started to feel compassion and started to feel, and this is actually based on a true story, but I'm not going to mention any names. And so this person started to feel very compassionate and very understanding, and it immediately diffused any frustration, anger, and he wanted to help the other person. What can I do? I'm so sorry. Really had that empathetic feeling, and wanted to really genuinely do something to alleviate the other person's pain, the father's pain and the kid's pain. So not only that, but the other people on the train as well were very empathetic as well, and a lot more understanding. Okay. But that's the power of the trigger cycle. Okay. So this person who was angry, all right, they were angry at what was going on. They could feel the rage coming up, but their behavior was to, tr engage the father of the children, and ask him to control his kids. And then through that, he learned the real situation. All right. So that's an assertive response to something that could have been very, very different. Okay. So very, very powerful story, that one. So keep that one in mind next time you start feeling a surge of anger hitting towards someone else, because we don't know what their story is. We don't see the world objectively. We think we see the world objectively as it is, but the actual reality, the truth is that we see the world as we are. Okay, we don't know all the facts when something is happening to us. So what are some things that you can do? So here are 5 things that you can do when you start to feel angry. Okay, so number one is, or if at the end of the day as well. So number one is reflect every day. Okay, reflect when you've done something that has caused you to feel anger, reflect on it. Ask yourself, why did that make me feel angry? Go through the trigger cycle. How did I react? How would I have liked to react? Okay, so really that self-development is anger can be such a powerful tool for self-development if you learn to use it wisely. Okay, we are meant to be angry. We're never going to get rid of anger. And in fact, I've written it here at the bottom here. So anger is a normal human emotion. You must learn to control it because you'll never get rid of it. We're not meant to get rid of it. It's helped us survive for millions of years. Okay. So number two, you can breathe. Okay. You want to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. And have a little pause in between. So okay. The reason that you're breathing out for 8 seconds is because when you breathe out, you automatically activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is basically it's the calming part of the nervous system. When you breathe in, you activate what's called your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight flight. Okay. So breathing out longer than breathing in actually does help to calm you down. This is at the beginning stages when you start feeling the anger boiling. There are other techniques. If you're already in a rage, chances are this won't work. All right. But that's a topic for another video, which I'm going to be talking once again in more depth about if you are already fired up and in a rage and the last thing you want to do is try and breathe your way out of it, but to actually follow through with that rage. I'm going to give you some advice on that in the future. But if you feel the anger boiling, starting to boil up, if you start to feel yourself, you know, losing control, then that is prime time to activate your parasympathetic nervous system with the 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out breath work. Number three, go outside, get some of that nourishing vitamin D, get the sun on you. If it's raining, go outside in the rain even. Okay, feel the water over you, embrace nature. Okay, go for a walk outside. Okay. Um, very, very powerful stuff to help calm you down, to help make you feel better. You first of all, you're getting out of the situation that caused you to feel angry. So even if you're driving, pull over and go for a walk. Go outside. Okay. Um, and second of all, so first of all, you're getting yourself out of the situation that's caused that you feel angry around. And second, you're getting outside, you're getting some of that sunlight, very, very powerful stuff for our immune system, for our health, for our mental health, and so forth. So many, many benefits to just going outside for 10 minutes if you start feeling the surge of anger coming up. Okay. Number four, assume the best instead of the worst. Now, this once again ties into the trigger cycle and that initial thought. So it's about flipping the switch and reminding yourself that you don't know the story. You don't know what's going on here. So assume the best instead of the worst. Okay. This is part of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So, reframing. Basically, when we see the world, when we see things happening to us, we frame everything. Frame basically means that we see things from our own perspective, from our own frame. As I mentioned before, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are, and we frame events and situations based on our own beliefs, our values, based on our upbringing, social conditioning. There's a lot of factors there which influence on how we frame things in that happen to us in life. So, if we can learn to frame things from assuming the best instead of assuming the worst, that will help with managing your anger or those intense emotions. Number five, have a nice bath or cold shower. Okay, this is something that I get a lot of my clients to do. My anger management clients, I think I've actually got them all to do that. And what I do is I actually get them to take a photo, a picture of the bath, not or the shower, not obviously not when they're in there, but just to show me, especially the ice bath, that they've got the bath ready to go with the ice in there. because we're accountable for our results. Okay. And that is such a powerful way to manage your anger, to manage these intense emotions. You're stimulating your whole nervous system, um your vagus nerve, which is basically your information superhighway between your it runs down your spinal column and links between your brain and your gut. Okay, your gut has its own brain as well, and a lot of our emotions and anger are directly affected by the gut. And I'm going to be doing a whole video on the gut and its effect on our anger in a separate video. But for now, just keep in mind that when you have an ice bath or a shower, a cold shower, sorry, a cold shower. So it's really, you want that cold, that, oh, yes, you feel that cold. Um, that's doing some really good things to your mind and body. Okay. So I hope that you found this helpful. Now I'm going to move on to see if I can just give me a sec. I'm going to stop sharing this one because I do have another slide here that I want to. Here we go. All right. So, oh, wait a minute. I don't think you can see that. Just give me a sec. Gotta love technology. I'm just going to share my screen again. Yes, I am definitely going to keep recording throughout this whole thing because we're all human and I want you to see me raw and real. Perfect. Now you should be able to see that. Okay, so ultimate anger management. Now, ultimate anger management is it's an online course slash community that I created to help people manage their anger. Okay. The whole point of this is to fill in the shortfalls from all other anger management courses around the world. The idea behind here is that if you do an anger management course, even if you're seeing a counselor for 6 weeks, in real extreme cases for 12 weeks, um, life goes on after the sessions. And as I said, you're never going to get rid of anger. Managing anger is a lifelong process. And so I wanted to bring that and I wanted to create a platform where people like you can come to manage your anger for the rest of your life. Okay. So if you're interested in that, please join our community. I'm going to leave a link to Ultimate Anger Management in the link in the description below. Now what is Ultimate Anger Management? So it does include a 6-week intensive course and workbook. So basically it's an introduction with 6 weeks worth of activities that you can do to help manage your anger. Now, this isn't a typical anger management course. It's very different. The idea here is for you to learn about yourself, okay? But more than that, it's to make amends to people who have been affected by your anger. Okay, so it's really about taking ownership of yourself, of your feelings, of your emotions, genuinely working on yourself, and being able to step out of your ego, move into your self-empowerment, and make amends with people whose relationships have been affected because of your anger or because of your intense emotions or outbursts. Okay, so what I find is that people, when they work on themselves, they don't heal relationships, or they don't heal things that they've done from the past. That sort of baggage can carry around. You can carry around with you. All right. And it's very, very challenging to work on with people that have been hurt because of your actions, but it's very necessary for you to move forward. And ultimately, it's liberating. It frees you. And I can tell you that most people are understanding, and if they can see that you're genuinely trying to fix yourself and you're showing change, because everyone can change, um, generally they're understanding. Not everyone forgives, and that's okay because that's on them. And the course covers all of this. Okay. But it's a very, very powerful course. Okay. And it goes into in-depth things that you can use to manage your anger. And there's also, it's all about you taking ownership and control, coming up with plans so that, sustainable plans so that you can move forward in life. So Ultimate Anger Management also we also run weekly Zoom gatherings, Zoom meetings, which I host. But uh, anyone who's in this community can join. Okay, so we talk about, our wins, our things that we might have fallen off the wagon and let anger get the better of us. But the idea is that this is it's first of all confidential. Nothing is recorded in these Zoom meetings. And people do need to respect that. And basically, whatever's said in these gatherings, stay in these gatherings. Excuse me. But it's a place where we can connect with like-minded people who are going through, or you're going through, or we're going through, as a community with our intense emotions. It's also got what do you call it? It's kind of like a Facebook thing as well, where you've got threads where you can put topics, people can comment on topics, you can have online discussions, all within this platform, around anger management. It's also gamified, so the more you engage, there's a leaderboard. So the more people who engage, the higher they go in the leader. And in the future, there will be prizes, there will be additional incentives for people to engage as well. So the platform that I'm using for this is School. It's a very, very powerful platform with that, unlike anything that exists in the world, as far as I'm aware, for these sorts of courses and communities. And oh, I realized I just wrote 3 twice. That should have been a 4, that last one. For a limited time, it is free, lifetime membership. Okay, for a limited time. Then it will be people will have to pay. I'll be charging. So there'll be 2 options with charging. So one will be a once-off fee, or another one will be on a monthly subscription basis. And if you do opt in the for the once-off payment, that's a lifetime membership. So once again, the idea is that you've got support for the rest of your life, because life goes on. You get to do the 6-week course, but you've got ongoing support. You'll have ongoing resources to help manage your anger. And yeah, so look, get involved. Okay. Sign up now while it's free. It's not going to be free for long. Okay. So sign up now and you'll have lifetime membership to this amazing product. Tell your friends about it. Okay. I'm really, really trying to build a community here. Um, excuse me, so that we've got each other's backs. We can look out for each other. We can look after each other. If you're having a tough day, you can come to the community and um, seek advice, seek help. Even if you need to vent, something's on your mind, you need to get that out. That's okay. All right, that's fine. There's obviously going to be rules that we have to be respectful, and so forth. But it is also an avenue for us to get this stuff out, the gunk out. Okay, these emotions out. Excuse me. So, look, I hope that you found this beneficial. With that being said, please subscribe. Feel free to get in contact with me. My website's www.alexrodriguez.com.au. You can also email me at info@alexrodriguez.com.au. And I will see you guys